Marina Webster, your host for Inspiring Author TV. And today I am going to interview Angelica and Terence Atman. Welcome, Angelica and Terence.
Thank you for having us, Marina. It's a pleasure.
Angelica and Terence have written a book, Reaching Beyond the Dream, A Leap in Human Consciousness. So please tell us about your book and why did it come about?
Well, it's a long story why it came about. I mean, our whole life has been dedicated to spiritual growth and spiritual awareness, and even from an early age it's been very much a part of our lives. And we have been conducting seminars and workshops and things for many years. We came to a point in our life where we felt that there was something deeper calling us inside, and we couldn't find that through the work that we were doing. So after some soul searching, we decided to retreat from the world, and we left and found a little place in the country, a little bit north of Brisbane, and we retreated, and we didn't know how long it was going to be for, but all we knew was that we wanted to go in and we wanted to learn about what was motivating us as human beings from a spiritual point of view. So we embarked on this journey, and it ended up being a little over 3 years. And during that time we went through a lot of our own processes. We learned a lot about ourselves and about our human nature, about our spiritual nature, and we had enormous amount of philosophical conversations together.
Hours and hours.
Hours upon hours, in between our meditation and our other study practices and things. And after a while we began to realise that there's a lot of very good information coming out of these conversations, and we should start recording some of it. So we did, and we started writing things down, and eventually we had enough to start the process of writing a book. So this didn't really start until some time after we retreated, so it was about the last year.
Terence, sorry to interrupt you. What did you do when you said you did a lot of studies? So what do you mean by studies? You just talked to each other, or you went to like seminars, or you read books?
During those times, in those 3 years, we were completely cut away from the world, so to speak.
Yes.
So we were no TV, there was no media, there was no newspapers. But prior to that, we had both done a lot of research into a lot of metaphysical books. We had read dozens and dozens, hundreds of books together. But somehow there was something missing. The answers weren't clear. And as we were going deeper and deeper within, we sort of discovered that there's got to be more than this. I think both, by our own nature, we have very inquiry mind. So we don't accept anything as truth until we have an experience of that truth. So the books somehow didn't seem to satisfy the yearning in the heart. Some things sounded truth, but then when you sort of looked at them from different perspectives, there was something missing. So our discussions, we would challenge each other. If we came across a new concept or an idea, we would challenge it.
So you discussed the books you were reading?
Yes, together, and we read the books together, and we would, because that's what we do. And even if we went into a state of meditation, that a lot of the times you would have insights during the meditations, we would discuss those insights. If, for example, ideas about relationships, about sexuality that we held, especially, you know, for myself, I had very strong opinions about what love was and about all sorts of things. But when we really challenged those ideas and looked deeper, we found out that that's not really what love is all about. That's not what a relationship is about.
So basically you changed your opinion
about
right. Love.
Everything else became recontextualized. So we started to put those ideas on paper. Normally in the seminars too that we were conducting, we found that a lot of people had very misguided ideas about looking for a perfect partner that would complete them. Well, from our own personal discovery, we found out that in fact no one can complete you, because you have to find that completeness in yourself first before you can have a complement, you can have a relationship.
Yeah.
So a lot of the work evolved around relationships.
So what was your original idea about love and how did it change?
It's a good question. It was camouflaged under the guise of romance and that if you did something in love, it was okay. But what I didn't understand at the time was that love was not unconditional love that I was talking about, was a human love. And human love was quite different than unconditional love. And no person can actually fulfill that need that you feel in your heart. It's the yearning for God, the yearning for union with the divine. So as we went deeper into the process, I had to surrender a lot of my ideas of what I expected in love, because I found that in my ideas about love, it was loaded with a lot of expectations, even unspoken expectations and demands that I wasn't even aware of. But as I went deeper and looked at that, it was very challenging to find that this is not really unconditional love, because it's loaded with expectations, sometimes very subtly, sometimes very overt.
So what you're saying is that your original idea was that love is some sort of ego-based
Very much
feeling.
so, yes.
But then you changed your opinion that love is not ego-based.
That's right, it's got nothing to do with the ego, it's got nothing to do with getting. It's a pure energy that comes freely from a deeper place, and it doesn't have any expectations. It's just an extension of what you are.
We found that it's very much a degree of one's consciousness, a level of one's consciousness. And as the consciousness evolves, the capacity for love evolves, and the capacity to experience beauty and to experience divinity increases retrospectively. But the book is more about the journey to that higher level of what we've called divine union. And that divine union is not just the union between a man and a woman or two human beings, but it's a union with their soul and with their creator, God, or whatever you want to call it. So it's a reflection in the relationship. So the two aspects of this book are joined together with this idea of divine union, and that's where the spiritual aspect of it comes in. In the beginning of the book, we spoke more about consciousness and how consciousness works and how we perceive reality, how we put it together in our mind, how we process emotions, and we take the system down a little bit so that the reader can understand the platform that we're coming from. And then we apply those principles to the relationships, to sexuality, and we also look at spirituality in itself, the different paths of spirituality and how they tie in with everything else that we presented in the book. So all up, it brings us to a systematic approach where a person can come to their own realization of their own truth about their own path and their own being.
Right. Terence, so do you believe that anyone is capable just to experience unconditional love?
Everyone is capable of it if they are willing to surrender everything that is an obstacle to it. And
what are the obstacles?
The book is very much about identifying the obstacles and releasing them. But unless one aspires to a state of higher awareness, higher consciousness, there generally will not be enough drive to get there. So the book helps inspire by a reflection of what we have personally done together and the relationship that we have personally formed together to help them move along their journey. Now everybody's journey is going to be different, and we respect that because everybody perceives reality differently. But as we go along, we draw all the parallels together so that people can understand what it is for themselves and how they can raise their level of awareness so that divine union, divine love, divine consciousness, higher awareness becomes a spontaneous attribute of their life.
So another question, what do you think the major obstacle or the main obstacle to experience unconditional love? Ego?
Fear.
Fear?
Fear always blocks love. And unless we are willing to look deep within and face the shadow side of what we perceive we are, we're always going to have obstacles that block the flow of love.
Right.
Because if there is fear, you can't experience love. You can either experience one or the other.
Right.
And fear then breeds guilt, breeds shame, and all sorts of other negative emotions. And unless one is prepared to face those emotions and release them, they can't experience the flow of love.
So in your book, you actually show people how they can...
How to cultivate those relationships step by step, how to go deep within, have the courage to look. Because a lot of people are prepared to look for love, but they're not prepared to look for what is false. But by looking for what is false, you will find what is true. You will find the love. Because then you realize, and when you realize internally yourself that it's false, then you know what is true. And then you find the essence of love.
Yeah. So basically it is responsibility of each of us.
Personal.
Yeah.
So each one has to do it on their own.
On their own, yeah. So the other people, books and like educational material,
they're just little stepping stones.
Guide you, but it is your personal journey.
Exactly. The book really provides little stepping stones so that the reader can go inwardly themselves, so they can get to know themselves, so then they can go on a deeper journey.
Do you also offer some sort of spiritual practices like meditation?
Yes, we do. And in addition to this book, we also offer another book which is called Tools for Spiritual Transformation, which is available on our website to download for free. It's an ebook format, and it's got specific meditations, exercise that helps to foster a much higher awareness.
So how many books you have written so far?
Well, Reaching Beyond the Dream is one book, but we've also got a companion book which is called Tools for Spiritual Transformation, and that's available as a free downloadable ebook on our website, so anybody can have access to that. In that book we've put a lot of practices, meditations that people can do that complements the teaching in this book. And the practices and the meditations are designed to bring the reader to higher awareness, to get to know themselves. In Reaching Beyond the Dream, we've also got some practical examples, and we've got some exercises which they can follow. But Tools for Spiritual Transformation augments the teachings much further.
What are the examples of tools or exercises? Like one of them is meditation. And anything else?
There are several different types of meditations that you can do. For example, there's one that's called witnessing, where you become the observer. So you learn, you start to retrain the mind to observe. And then you take it a little bit deeper. Well, who's observing? So they're all each designed to systematically take you deeper and deeper into the essence of what we are. Then we've got a beautiful forgiveness process, because we found that a lot of people have a lot of issues around forgiveness. So we address forgiveness in the book, especially the importance of forgiveness in a relationship. But we take a little bit further in Tools for Spiritual Transformations. We actually give them a step-by-step process that someone can facilitate and take them through, so they can release whatever grievances or hurt they're holding. Because that, of course, is one of the obstacles to love. Because if you're holding any anger or any resentment or any grievance, that's going to obstruct the flow of love. So we've put practices there that will help people to deal with the obstacles and remove the obstacles to love virtually.
So you also do like your own workshops or
yes,
talks?
we do a lot of workshops, seminars, we run classes on higher consciousness, and we virtually, whatever we're called to do. We work with couples,
Fantastic.
individually, one-on-one. We do mentoring on a one-on-one basis or on Skype. So we're available as a channel to help in whatever area we can help, because we know from our own experience the benefit that you feel, the freedom that comes as you start to remove those obstacles.
Fantastic. So where people can buy your book?
Well, our book can be bought from our website, which is www.atmans.co. It's also available on Amazon.com, and there are a number of bookshops that also have it. And we've got
Well, it's available in hardcover,
yes, it's available
softcover, e-format and Kindle.
Fantastic.
So they have a choice.
Yes, yes, that's great. So it was wonderful to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you for having us, Serena.
Thank
you,
lovely.
Irina.
Thank you.